They built a glass paradise way too high, then the bubble popped. The silent sound of foreclosure signs are all over town. I got a bad loan, a promise they believe. Now the dream is over, they're feeling deceived. I watch from the sidelines, patient and cool, playing by a different set of rules. All I wanna do is and never knew was take the window. All I wanna do is and no cash up high and watch the funds grow. This is straight up capitalism, tick tick boom, sweeping up the pieces with the concrete boom. When I do, get a call from my contact, a whisper on the phone. Another empty unit, the speculator is gone. He says a shame with a crocodile tears. He sells me their future for a fraction of last year. The paperwork's easy, a cash only deal. That heartbreak and panic is my next big steal. They get a cardboard box, I get the ocean view. It's nothing personal, it's just what I do. And a casual body, take your condo. And a casual body, and watch the intro. This is straight up capitalism, chick chick boom, sweeping up the pieces with the concrete boom. When I do wrong, when I do wrong, when I do. Some myself ask for a quick return. Some I rent out, let the lesson burn. They call it a crisis, I call it a sale. In this concrete jungle, the strongest prevail. No funny business, I am the business. They sold you a lead, now I'm the witness. Seek your condo. Watch the funds grow.
Happy Thursday, Miami. This is Condo Capitalism, a conversation about what's going on in the real estate market from a distress perspective. At least normally. Today, though, we're making a little bit of an exception. We're going to be giving you an update as to what happened in the Broward County condo market during that winter buying season, the ever-important winter buying season, which goes from November through April. Where we see the world, there are two seasons in South Florida when it comes to condos. There's a shopping time, which begins in November and it goes through to April. That's when people come to town. They're coming here for the weather. They're coming here for an event. They're coming here for a vacation. Maybe they're coming for a cruise. A lot of times they catch the bug. They then want to go ahead and pursue a condo. And by the time they find a place, they get it under contract, they get it financed, and they ultimately close. It ends up closing in the summer buying season, which is what we're in right now. That summer buying season goes from May through October. So you shop in the winter and you close in the summer. The summer season has just begun, which means winter is over. Therefore, we're running the data and we're giving you an idea what happened in Broward County in the winter buying season. And what I can tell you is sales went up, prices came down. What about on the luxury side? Those condos that are at least $1 million or more, they went way up on the sales as well as the pricing. So we're seeing a bifurcation in the market. You were seeing in Broward County that the overall condo market pricing is coming down, but on the luxury side, the prices are going up, but sales are up in both particular markets. We'll get into some of the details. We'll lay it all out. We're going to show you some line charts. We're going to show you some bar charts. We're also going to show you some statistics. I'm Peter Zalewski, condo consultant, expert witness, founder of the Miami Condo Investment Club. I do a live podcast every weekday at 4 o'clock in which we're talking condos. On Thursdays, we do Condo Capitalism, where we're typically talking about the distressed condo market, whether it be short sales, REO, foreclosures, bank-owned, any and all of that. But today we're making that exception. Why? Because of the end of the winter. And it's a critical time just to give everybody an idea what happened during that winter period. On Mondays, I do Miami Condo Mondays with my partner Jenny Worthus over at CVR Realty. Check out her website, cvrrealty.com, where we talk about the latest trends that are going on in the marketplace based on a newsletter I put out every Sunday. If you guys have not yet signed up for the newsletter, I'd highly recommend it. Newsletter's been around for 19 years. We issue it on Sundays, give you some sort of perspective what we see as the biggest story out there on the street. Tuesdays, we do Miami Condo Exchange. That is an overview about what's going on statistically in the condo market. We look at South Florida and we look at the condo market, especially east of Interstate 95. We look at that as a trading pit or a trading floor. Right now, you buy stocks on your phone, on your app, on your computer. Back in the day, you used to call your broker. Your broker would call the floor of the trading pit. That person would write up an order. They'd give it to a runner. Runner would take it to the pit. And that's how stuff was transacted. No more today. However, we still have that perspective that condos are commodities. They are not a family for and a dog where people are trying to live the American dream. These are purely speculators trying to get in, trying to get out, especially when you're east of Interstate 95. So the Tuesday program, Miami Condo Exchange, it deals with that statistically as to what's going on in the market. Wednesdays, we do the Peter Zalewski Show. It's a one-on-one conversation I have with somebody I think is important for you to know, for someone to be on your radar, regardless if you were born and raised here, you've been living here, or you're thinking about moving down. Thursdays, Condo Capitalism, distress. And we wrap up the week at 4 o'clock on Fridays when Buy, Sell, Hold Miami, a bull versus bear conversation that I have with a gentleman called Daniel Hernandez over at Compass Real Estate. So 5 days a week, we are talking condos in the Tri-County, South Florida area. What we're doing in the summer buying season, we have an initiative. We're now trying to get the podcasts up quicker. We've been shooting for a half an hour turnaround. So from the time the podcast ends, roughly half an hour later, it's going to be made available. What we're finding so far is it's taking us about an hour. So ideally, we're going to get to it 30 minutes after the podcast ends. Best case scenario, we start right at 4, we finish at 5, and it should be up by 5:30. What we're finding, though, is it's taking an hour, but it's early on. It's our first week of sort of trying to put it together. But the idea is every single day you can, you can tune into the podcast at 4 o'clock, watch it live, or you can watch it on demand. The turnaround time that we have for on demand is basically play with the sound, make sure we can enhance it the best way we can, as well as put in place a template for the look and the feel of the podcast. Unfortunately, if you're watching it on demand, you're going to have to be a member of the Miami Condo Investing Club. We're building an ecosystem. We're building a community of those people who are interested in condos. And one of the crucial or key aspects is the information we're sharing with our podcast. We started off writing, and then a lot of people were saying, listen, I'd rather listen to it or watch it. And now we've gotten to the point now we're pretty much doing the videos of once a podcast is over, we'll give you a top 10 takeaways, and we'll also give you a timestamp timeline. So you can go ahead and you can kind of jump ahead in the podcast, which tends to be somewhere in the vicinity from 45 minutes to an hour. You can jump around, you can kind of watch what you want based on what we kind of lay out there. But the on-demand version is only available for club members. If you want for information, join the club, go to miamicondo.club. Also, too, if you guys are considering joining the club, something to keep in mind is I do a monthly meeting, do it on the second Wednesday of every month. And at that meeting, I tell you, where are we, where were we, and where are we going based on everything we can gather. Second Wednesday of every month is when we do that. We had been doing it at noon, but we've made a change in the summer. We're now doing it at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, we'll be doing it. And so, again, 5 days a week, 4 o'clock, you can tune in. You're going to be hearing condos. And on one Wednesday, the second Wednesday of every month, you're going to be getting our Miami Condo Investing Club monthly meeting. So that'll be going on next week. It's going on the 13th of May. We'll be laying out our base case for the summer buying season of May through October. And one final tidbit, what we're going to be doing this summer, what we're working on is actually going forward finally and completing something we first came up with 15 years ago. It's called a condo ratings agency, where we're actually evaluating and coming up with a conclusion and rating condo associations based on economic stability, economic feasibility, economic viability. Club members will be getting access to that condo ratings agency as it starts to come online. It'll be a slow rollout. The ultimate goal is to have it all locked and loaded and ready to go come winter buying season, which will be in November. So that's our strategy. That's what we're all about. But what are we talking about this week? We're talking about what happened during the winter buying season. Yesterday, I dealt with what would happen in Miami-Dade County. Today, we are talking about what happened in Broward County. And tomorrow, I'll be taking a shot at Palm Beach County to kind of lay it all off for you so you can get a sense of where we are at. This is based on closed sales data. This is in addition to what we do every single week, which is called the South Florida Condo Association Financial Cliff. index, where we're tracking what's going on in real time in terms of active listings and pending sales. Today is about closed sales data. The Tuesday podcast is about what's going on in the index. The way I want you to look at it, it's the same way that Wall Street looks at the statistics. When you're talking unemployment data, you're talking about what happened 6 months ago. The unemployment numbers will talk about the past. The indices, whether they be the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, the S&P 500, they're all telling you kind of where we're going in the future. So that's how we're looking at it. Our index, South Florida Condo Association Financial Cliff Index, or Condo Cliff Index for short, that's telling you about where we're going forward. And then when the data ultimately is released, you'll find that our indices are basically tracking pretty close. There's just a lot of hoopla made about the fact that all these new closed sales occurred suddenly. Well, that was something we were tracking because we update our index every single Tuesday. Why? Because deals are done over the weekend. Monday, they're typically updated. So by Tuesday, everything is real time, if you will. It's a constantly changing type of situation. So that's something to keep in mind. And today's conversation about closed sales data, that's going to be more so like your unemployment numbers. It's going to tell you where we were. It'll give you a good idea for comparables. So let's go ahead and let's start to jump into it. And I should tell everybody, you're watching this live, so everything you're seeing is for free, and I encourage you to do so. 4 o'clock weekdays, you can get us at MiamiCondo.club. You can also get us on social media sites. However, once the podcast ends, from this point forward, is all going to be behind a paywall. So tune in at 4 o'clock. You don't have to pay a dime. If you want to watch it after the fact, you're going to have to be a club member. More information, MiamiCondo.club. Let's go ahead. We're going to pull up at first bar charts, line charts, and then after that, we'll start to drill into the information. We're looking at Broward County. If you don't know where Broward County is, it's basically part of the Tri-County South Florida region. You got Miami-Dade County to the south, you got Broward in the middle, and you have Palm Beach County to the north. Way it kind of breaks out is we have somewhere in the vicinity of 6.4 million people or so. The largest county will be Miami-Dade County to the south. Broward County will be in the center, and it's got about 2 million versus Miami-Dade, which is 2.8. And then roughly 1.6 million or so are going to be in Palm Beach County to the north. The look, the feel, the vibe of Broward County, generally speaking, is going to be basically the feeder, basically the employees, basically the staff, basically the people who are driving and doing the work for our company. So in Palm Beach County, you're going to have much more of a domestic-based economy. And in Miami-Dade County, you're going to have more of an international-based economy. And the people keeping both of those economies going, they tend to live in Broward County. Why? It's the cheapest. It's the cheapest market out there. We're going to show you the data. You guys will be able to get a glimpse of it. But that's the way to look at it. So international wealth is going to be in Miami-Dade County, and domestic wealth is going to be in Palm Beach County and Broward County. These are the people working in the hotels. These are the, the families with the attorney or the accountant, the school teacher. So more of the middle class, if you will. If there is a middle class in South Florida, that's going to be in Broward County. And then domestic wealth, Palm Beach, and international wealth, Miami-Dade County. That's a kind of a good overview, I think. So let me go ahead. We'll pull up the charts. We'll give you guys an idea of what we saw between November and April of 2025, 2026.